Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're taking a fascinating deep dive into the hidden, highly evolved mechanisms of the human mind. We're looking at a rare kind of brilliance that doesn't just show up on your standard IQ test. No, today we are exploring the survival roots of intelligence. If you've ever felt like you process the world a little differently, if you pick up on those subtle signals that everyone else just completely misses, then this is absolutely for you. We're going to unpack exactly how the brain adapts to extreme adversity and, incredibly, transforms those painful experiences into profound cognitive strengths.
Okay, let's dive into this. Can trauma actually make you smarter? I know, on the surface, it sounds a little weird, right? We usually think of trauma as something that strictly damages or breaks us. But modern psychologists are uncovering this wild, counterintuitive paradox. The very thing that once hurt you might also be the exact thing that drastically reprogrammed how you see, process, and understand the entire world around you. It's a fundamental rewiring of your cognitive pathways.
I really want to speak directly to you for a second here, especially if you've ever been told that you overthink things, or that you're too sensitive, or too guarded. Listen to me. It is not a flaw. These psychological traits you've developed are rooted entirely in keeping you alive. When your early environment lacked safety, your brain didn't just sit there and passively suffer. It adapted. It initiated a literal biological upgrade designed specifically for your survival in a totally unpredictable world.
And that brings us to our core definition, traumatic intelligence. Now, this isn't the kind of intelligence that comes from sitting in a classroom or passing a corporate training program. Not at all. It is an evolved pattern recognition and emotional processing capability. It's forged entirely in the fire of lived resilience. You learn to deeply understand and navigate the world because, well, at one point in your life, mapping out the emotional landscape of the people around you was literally the only way you could ensure your own protection.
Section 1. Your Survival Radar System. Subconscious detection.
So, the crucial point is looking at the incredible perceptive abilities the brain develops to constantly scan the environment. What we casually brush off as just reading the room or having a gut feeling is actually an incredibly advanced high-speed warning system. You walk into a room and boom, instantly, you feel an underlying tension. You're picking up on a quick glance away, slightly tense shoulders, or breaths that are just a fraction shorter than usual. This isn't magic. It's your brain running intense pattern recognition based on past experiences where unpredictable people posed a real threat. You read these cues so accurately and so fast that it operates almost entirely on a subconscious level.
This radar system completely upgrades how you interact with others. Most people operate on basic empathy. I see you're sad, so I feel sad with you. But traumatic intelligence, it creates predictive empathy. You're anticipating what someone needs before they even realize it themselves. Imagine sitting with a friend who insists they're fine, but you notice their eyes darting to the door and their fingers fidgeting. You don't wait for them to break down. You get up, close the door, and hand them a tissue right before the tear even falls. You're dissecting human behavior like a master psychologist mapping out a complex maze.
And this brilliantly illustrates how these abstract survival skills translate into massive real-world success. Just think about Oprah Winfrey. She's spoken really openly about how her difficult childhood forced her to learn how to read people just to stay safe. That same emotional radar, shaped completely through pain, became the exact tool that made her unparalleled in media. She can sense hidden emotions from something as tiny as a blink or a microscopic shift in breathing. That is traumatic intelligence in action, playing out on a global stage.
Section 2. The anchor in the storm, calm and chaos.
So, what actually happens inside the mind when the external world completely falls apart? Have you ever noticed a strange, almost eerie calm that washes over you during an emergency? Maybe it's a sudden car accident, a heated argument at work, or just really unexpected bad news. While everyone else around you is panicking, freezing, or yelling, your mind switches into a high-performance computer. Psychologists call this stress inoculation because your nervous system has already been conditioned by much larger, deeply terrifying battles in your past. Modern everyday crises, they just aren't enough to shake you. You respond with practiced, cold precision. You instantly prioritize what needs to be done, and you become the quiet anchor for everyone else in the room.
Let's cognitively reframe some common societal flaws into what they truly are, highly evolved survival shields. Society might call you too independent or say you have trouble accepting help. But look at the actual survival strength here. It's ultimate resourcefulness. When you couldn't rely on an unstable environment, you learn to be your own savior. You always have a plan B, C, and D ready to go. Similarly, being called distant or guarded is actually adaptive skepticism. You have a highly intelligent filtering system. You don't trust easily, for sure, but once someone passes your strict standards, you offer absolute, unshakable loyalty.
Section 3. The cost of hypervigilance, the exhausting burden.
Now, I gotta be honest, running these high-performance survival modes 24/7, it carries a massive, exhausting burden. Psychologist Elaine Aron has studied high sensitivity extensively. When you have traumatic intelligence, your nervous system kind of lacks a heavy filter. You are experiencing the world in high resolution. That means you process everything so deeply. A glowing sunset or a beautiful piece of music can move your entire soul in ways others just don't understand. But the flip side is that loud noises, strong smells, or news about global suffering hit you with devastating sharpness. You feel the pain of the world as if it were your own, simply because your nervous system is left wide open.
Now, what's really interesting here is how trauma survivors often have such a complicated relationship with rest. Have you ever tried to just sit on the couch and watch a movie, but your mind is racing with a million unfinished tasks and relaxing actually feels, well, intensely uncomfortable? That is your hypervigilance running in the background. In the past, silence often meant something bad was about to happen, so your brain adopted this harsh, three-step survival logic. Number 1, I am busy. Number 2, therefore I am in control. And number 3, therefore I am safe. Unlearning this, teaching your brain that rest is not a mistake, is very often the absolute hardest part of the healing journey.
Section 4. From Survival to Purpose, a Guiding Light.
You might experience this intense, almost shaking anger when you witness injustice, even if it has absolutely nothing to do with you. People might tell you to just let it go or ask why you take things so seriously. But what you're experiencing is advanced moral intelligence, because you deeply personally understand what it feels like to be vulnerable. Ignoring unfairness feels biologically impossible to you. You crave authenticity and fairness to an extreme level. So no, this isn't you being difficult. It is a razor-sharp moral compass calibrated directly by your own past pain.
To see the absolute highest expression of this, we can look to the brilliant psychiatrist Viktor Frankl. He survived the unimaginable horrors of the Nazi concentration camps. He could have easily allowed that trauma to turn him entirely numb, bitter, or cruel. But he didn't. Instead, he used his traumatic intelligence to formulate profound psychiatric ideas about the very meaning of life. He turned intense personal pain into a powerful sense of purpose and a boundless kindness for others. That is the ultimate power of this kind of intelligence. It is literally what keeps the world from becoming completely cold and indifferent.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this question to chew on. Will you choose to see your scars as the lens to your greatest strength? Look, nobody wants to trade a carefree childhood for this kind of intense awareness. We don't get to choose the darkness we walk through in life. But you are not broken. You carry the sharpness of a detective, the compassion of a healer, and the unshakable strength of someone who has walked through fire. You are living proof of human adaptability. You're a lighthouse shining in the dark, not because you've never seen the darkness, but because you've learned exactly how to survive it. Thank you so much for learning with me today.